Alright, so in this section we're going to build a small geolocation app, just like we did with PhoneGap. So we'll get to see the little differences between PhoneGap and Intel XDX when it comes to geolocation. We're going to use the Get Current Position API, so it's just going to plot a point on a map wherever the device is. So let's open up XDK, and either in this section or the next I'm going to show you how we can actually test our apps on our devices using an app called App Lab. Because especially with geolocation, if you're testing it within Intel XDK, it's not going to show you your actual location. Alright, so let me log in here. Whoop. I think that's it. Yep. Alright. Alright, so let's find here's our Eduonics application, and we want it, we'll just put it on iPhone 5. Actually, the iPhone 4 has a wider display. Alright, so we have two links. We still have that alert function, so let's shut that off. If we go into NetBeans, let's see. Looks like we did take it off. Not sure why it's... Let's try to reload. Huh. Pretty weird. Maybe we didn't save NetBeans, because we don't have the onload attribute, so I'm not sure why. Oh, there we go. It just wasn't saved in NetBeans. Alright, so the goal of this section is to get geolocation up and running on this page, which will be a map with our point marker. So let's go over to, actually first of all, before you do anything, you need to have a Google Maps API. We can just say Google API console. So if you don't have one, you can get one. We're going to click on API access. If you've been following along in the PhoneGap sections, then you already have one. If not, just click on this create new browser key, and it'll generate a key for you. You can choose to use certain domains, or you can choose any refer allowed, which is what we're going to do here. Now, to implement this key, we need to include the JavaScript file. So if we go to this documentation page, it shows us how to obtain a key, which is what we just did, and then it gives us an example, and this is how we're going to include the file. It's googleapis.com/maps/API, and then we put our key in, and also a value for sensor, which is true or false. And if you're using a mobile device, then you want to say true. You want to specify that you want to use this sensor parameter. So I'm just going to copy this and come over here and paste it in the first JavaScript file. It doesn't matter. I always like to put this first though. Alright, so now we need to go copy the key. Alright, so the key needs to go right here, and then we want to set this to true. Alright, so that's all set. Alright, so let's see. So the first thing we want to do is, remember, we need to use the navigator.geolocation.getCurrentPosition API, and we want to set that off, but only on the geolocation page. We don't want any of this to happen on other pages. So if you watch the last section, then you know you can actually create a function for a certain page, and we do that through this panel div. For geolocation, we can just put in data load, and we can set this to a value, and we're going to set this to get location. So whenever we enter the geolocation page, this function is going to run. So let's go up to the script and create that function. So the only thing that this is going to do is call the navigator dot geolocation dot get current position. I'm sorry, that P should be uppercase. Alright, and this is going to take two callbacks, which is on success and on error. Alright, so now we just have to create those. So function on success, and this takes a parameter called position, which we can use to grab the latitude and longitude. So let's see, I want to create a variable, and this is going to be called lat long, which is going to be equal to a new google.maps.latitude longitude. And then in here we just want to put the position chords. Position chords, latitude. Alright. So the next thing we want to do while still in this onSuccess function is create the map options. So I'm going to say variable map options is equal to, and then we want to open a pair of curly braces, and let's see, center. The center of the map is going to be our latitude longitude variable, and we want a comma here. Let's actually bring this over. Alright, so center, pan control, we'll say false, and let's see, zoom control, true, zoom, and there's a whole bunch of different options that you can do here. Just go to the documentation at the Google developer site and you'll be able to see them all. Map type ID, Google dot maps dot map type ID dot roadmap. Alright, that should do it. bring this up. Whoop. And we want to put a semicolon after that closing curly brace. So next we want to just get the map object, and we want to get the marker. So variable map is going to be equal to new google.maps.map, and we're going to need a place to put it. So we'll say document.getElementById, and we'll call it map placer, which we haven't created yet, but we will. Alright, so map placer, and we also want to include the map options. Alright, so what we did there was create a new map object using google.maps.map, and it took two parameters. The first is where the map is going to go, which will be in a div called with the ID of map placer, and the second parameter was the map options, which we created up here. So it's pretty easy to understand. The next thing we're going to do is create the marker object. So variable marker is going to be equal to new google.maps.marker, and this, the first parameter it's going to take is position, and that'll be our latitude longitude variable, and then we want map. And I'm sorry, this should actually be wrapped in curly braces. It's actually JSON notation. So alright, so the last thing we want to do is create the error callback, and I'm just going to paste this in because it's quite long, and you most likely already understand it. We did it back in the phone gap section, and all we're doing really is creating an error string, a blank error string, and then we're looking for the error code, because depending on what kind of error it is, it'll shoot off certain codes 1 through 4. And here we're just creating a message or a string according to what the error code is. So pretty easy. And we do need to insert the error somewhere, so what we're going to do is we're going to say variable element equals document dot get element by ID, and that's going to be the map placer. And we'll say element dot inner HTML is going to equal the string, error string. Okay, so the rest of the work is down here. So let's see, this is our geolocation panel or page, which is going to call get location, which we defined up there. Now this is also where we want to show our map. So we're going to have a div ID of map placer, and we want to create a little style, because we need certain objects to be certain heights to be able to fit the map. We're going to say a width of 350 pixels, height of 100%, and we'll say text align center. Okay, and in that div we're going to just put a paragraph, and we're just going to say fetching location. Okay. And we do have to put the height to 100%. That means that we have to put the parent div, we have to give the parent div a height. So I'm going to give the parent div a height of 500 pixels. Alright, so let's save this and go to our XDK console and reload. Now it's not going to get our location, but if it works, it will show whatever location's down here. Alright, so it's working on the actual emulator. Obviously, I'm not on Wall Street. I'm in northern Massachusetts, so it's not going to show that. What we need to do is we need to test this on my actual device to make sure that it really works. So what I'm going to ask for you to do now is to go to your app store on your device and download the app called App Lab. And I'll show you what it looks like, just so if I can even find it. So this is what it's going to look like, the logo or the icon. Looks like there's only a 3.1 rating. I'm not sure what most people use it for. I know it's to test all kinds of HTML5 features, but it works really well with when we're using the XDK. So download that, and I'm going to continue. I'm going to make another video to show you how to actually use the App Lab on your device to test your app.